Welcome to my kitchen again. I'm Miriam, and today we are trying to make something. I'm trying to make gluten at home, which I can actually use to make my sausages, my vegetarian sausages. I have not done this before. This is the first time that I'm going to do this, so it is a trial and error, and I don't know how it's going to come out. But, well, we'll share with you how it will go through, and also some ingredients that I'm going to use to try. If it comes out right, well, good, but not, then we'll try again. Okay, so what I have here, this is brown flour, traditional unbleached flour. Okay, you can use, I guess, whatever flour that you have, especially the whole wheat one. It's much better, but this is what I have for now, right? So yeah, so we are going to make some measurements. Of course, the recipe that I got doesn't have measurements of how much flour you need in order to make your gluten. It doesn't even show the measurements of water that you need to combine together, but it just tells you that you need to make a dough and then let it sit for a while. So I'm just going to try and measure and see how my measurements will come out. If they come out right, then you can also make use of them. All right, so let's start. I have my measuring cup here, so you can see here it's 1.5. So I don't want to make a lot of flour because this is a trial and error, and I don't know how it's going to come out. So I think I'm going to use only 1.5 cup. And besides, I don't have enough flour. So yeah, so I'm going to measure. Of course, I already washed my hands, so it's very important that you wash your hand. This is more than enough. Of course, they say once you've made you've made a dough and you've washed your dough, eventually it will reduce. So yeah, but for now, let's try and stick to small amount, and then we see how much we will come out with. So we want to use, this is okay, this is fine, this is 1.5 cup. Okay, that's 1.5 cup. So I'm going to pour in my bowl here, my mixing bowl. Okay, all right, so I'm going to, since my dough is not that much, it's just a small one, so I think also the water should not be too much. Yeah, so it should be just enough. So this cup is half a cup, so I'm going to use a little bit, half a cup. I don't know if that is proper. Yeah, just to try and mix. Okay, not so much. All right, so, and I'm going to pour in my dough. I'm going to use the wooden stick first before I use with my hands. Okay, so first I'm going to use my wooden stick. Okay, so you can see the water is not enough, so we put another half of it, so we make that half a cup. Okay, so that the next I'll put a full one. Okay. Okay, so you can see it's not enough. So remember, half plus half of a cup, it's 1 cup, ne? Yeah. Okay, so we put already half of it, which was full of it. So it was already half a cup. So we put another full cup of this one. So in other words, you have 1 full cup for your dough. Okay, the reason I'm being careful is because I don't know the amount of water for this recipe, but you will find out soon. Okay, okay, so some other recipe, they say you can let your flour sit for 30 minutes before you come and wash it, but I think I'll let mine sit for 3 hours because we want the gluten to be released. Now this also has starch. Now the starch is soluble, meaning it can dissolve in water. I think I've added a lot more. The starch is soluble, and then the gluten is insoluble, meaning it cannot dissolve in water. So I think I've added a bit more of my water, so I need a bit more flour just to make it a dough and let it sit. So let me just add a bit of flour. Okay, just add just a bit. Remember it was 1.5 cup. So let me see how much is this I'm adding. It's not even a half cup. Okay, so let me add a bit again. Just try and see. Okay, so that's half a cup. So it's 2 cups already, né? Because we put 1.5 before. Okay, so we don't have like paste for now because it's still gonna get loose. We want it to remain as a dough until after 3 hours. Okay, so now it's a bit stiffy, so we can add our little water this time. So yeah. Okay, I think now I'm gonna use my hands because it's getting sticky. Okay, so now we are making the dough. Remember, I still have my little water, so not all of it is in here. Okay. So we are trying to mix as much as possible. Let's just and then we are going to cover it. For now, since I'm done with my dough making, it's now fine. You can see now. So I'm going to leave it sit for 3 hours, and since it's gonna be a long time, I'm going to get to do something, and I'll get back to you later when we are done with when it's 3 hours, after 3 hours, that is. So for now, we just I thought of other things that I can use for my sausages, and that is my eggplant. They've been dried, and I mean, you can see that they've nicely and dry. They can easily break. So this year I had plenty of eggplant that I've harvested, and I thought, well, I can make use of something. And I saw one of the recipe that was using you know, the dried mushrooms to make the sausages. So I thought, well, since the texture of mushrooms and the eggplant is almost the same, so I can dry this and try. So this time I want to crush it, and I'm going to try and mix it with my gluten, hopefully, that I'm going to extract, and then make some sausages. So I'm going to use the food processor, because this is too dry, and try and grind it with into powder, so that when we are done, we can mix it with our gluten that we are going to extract, and see how it's going to come out with a bit of salt and all that. Yeah. So for now, I'll see you later after 3 hours. In the meantime, I'll blend this, I'll process this to try and make powder out of it, and see how I can combine the two and try and make some sausages out of that. Okay, so I've placed some of my eggplant, dried eggplant, in here. I want to prepare them and crush them into powder. Normally, I prefer to use this smaller one. It's because it has a crack. I cannot use it for anything that has liquid. Yeah, and also it helps me instead of using the big one, because I just want the small amount. So here it will not crush properly. So yeah, I use this one. I think that's what then it can be useful for, since it cannot hold liquid stuff, since it has a crack. So yeah, I prefer to use this smaller one. So we'll start blending. Okay, this is a you can can see now it's already turning to powder. This is our eggplant. And by the way, it's very important, eggplant, you don't eat them raw because they are high in alkali. So that is not really good. We need alkalized food, but you cannot eat eggplant raw. So it has to be cooked. So when we put it to our gluten, then we will be able to just steam it a little bit in the broth, the vegetable broth that we are going to do. All right. So for now, let me just continue breaking them down. Okay, I'm using second pound, which is number 2 on my blender. Yeah, so that the first one is not that strong, so I'm using the second PowerPoint so that it can create. So yeah, like I said, so I'll use this. Okay, let's see how it looks inside. Let me just try to open it. Okay, so for now, back again, it's 3 hours since we soaked our dough. We made our dough. Now we are going to try and wash our dough so that we can see what comes out of it. And yeah, this is what I'm going to need for the broth. For the broth. So we have celery, 3 stalks of celery, and I also have parsley leaves. I just picked them now from the garden, plus 3 stalks of 3 leaves of leek. Okay, so we're gonna do this later. For now, we need to deal with this one. And this is my eggplant powder, which I've grinded, and this is the remainder of the eggplant. I've soaked them in water because I also want to mix them. So let's try and see what comes out of this. So this is water from the tape, and I have my dough here. Okay, so you can see it's already sticky, which is normal. Okay, and so we are going to, in fact, instead of removing it from here, let me just pour the water in here so that I can just break it in there. Okay, it's a bit too much. Let me just see what comes out of there. Okay, so we are going to wash the dough. Okay, so we need to wash the dough and knead it in water and try to remove the starch as much as possible from it. So you can see that the water is becoming milky. It's gonna get messy. Yeah, so you can see now. Okay, so you can see what is happening to the dough and the water. Okay, we need to press it very hard so that it releases as much starch as possible. And of course, you are going to need a cheesecloth just to help it drive more water from this dough at a later stage. So yeah, gonna continue just making sure it releases enough starch out. So you see now it's the starch is going out, but it still has more starch, which is the whitish thing. We're gonna rinse it also. Remember we said when you are going to wash it. So now you can see that it's splitting and separating as the starch is leaving the dough. We don't throw away this water, by the way. We are going to let it sit overnight because this is starch, so we can use it to thicken. This water, you can use it to thicken your stew in place of those normal soup. Our water has become so white, but you can see it's still having the starch. Okay, so you can see now, even to hold it, it's a little bit tricky. And you see the water now It has become so white. Okay, so we need to rinse this. I need my cheesecloth. Okay, so I'm going to put my cheesecloth over here, over the lunch box here where there's water. I'm going to use that water to rinse and to add more. Okay, so it's kind of jelly-like, not really, but you can see it's still having a lot of starch. That's why this is white stuff. So I'm going to put it here. I'm going to look for any more of this that remains. You can see now while in water it's still releasing the starch. So we put this aside and then we will let it sit and then we'll use it for something else. So here we see again. Okay, let me just try to add a bit more water. Let me just add more water to this. Okay, so we're going to add in here. Okay, so we have our you can see we need to squeeze as much as possible. Now I'm doing it in the cheesecloth to avoid it running around and separating too much. And later I'm going to put it together and dry it. So later, but if you don't have one, I think you can also use the sun, the natural way of drying it. And then once it's dry, you can then grind it to powder. Then you keep it. The next time when you want your gluten, you just use this one. And yeah, for those who do not who are allergic to gluten, you can use you can actually make from potatoes the sausages. Yeah, though they don't stay longer, they say. You just make them when you want to eat them. Okay, let's see how it looks like inside there. Okay. Let's see what comes out of the box. Yo! Yeah. See, it looks like bubble gum, kind of. Okay. That's how it looks like. Okay. I'm going to start cutting my broth before I start working on that. I mean, my vegetables, my broth. I've already washed them. Okay, so here is our starch, our gluten. So we leave it there for now and leave it in that thing. Alright, so we are going to start chopping. You don't really need to cut it in smaller pieces per se, because this is not something that we're going to be eating. It's just the water that we need. From there, just the flavor and the aroma. I think looking at my dough, it's very small, so I'm not going to cut all of this. I'm just going to cut a bit. Let me take maybe from here the leaves, one each. Yeah, and some few parsley, because I see my dough is very tiny. It's not that much anymore, so let's not waste. Okay, so we put this one here. Okay, so we continue with this one. Okay, so let's see what we can cut from here. Okay, so yeah, they're huge chunks because I don't really need to cut them small. for boiling. So I'm going to, yeah, this should be enough. It should be enough. Okay, so we are going to do our things. I also have my rosemary. I just love the smell of rosemary. I'm gonna cut them in tiny pieces so that I can add them to my I don't want to boil them because they are just tiny. Yeah, so that I can add them to my sausages. Yeah. I also just picked this one from the Of course, I also have some dried herbs here. This is celery, the dried herbs. Yeah. So for now, let's see what comes out of the box. Okay. Oh, I decided to use this cheesecloth. I have another one which I normally use for the juices, but hey, I thought this would happen, so it would be difficult to wash. So that's why I used this one that I don't normally use for the juices, to strain my juice. Okay, so you can see how it looks like. It looks like a gum. Okay, so yeah, trying to remove it out, all of it. Okay, a bit tricky, but we have to remove it out. Okay. Okay, so I'm finally done removing it from the cheesecloth. You can remove it if you have time, but for now I think I'll leave it here and then I'll wash this later. So we have our gluten. Okay, it's like bubblegum kind of. So I'm going to add my eggplant powder to it. Okay, this is 1 tablespoon. I did not put all of it, maybe just a bit. Okay, then I'm going to combine. And I'm also going to put my for flavor, and also this one we are going to mix them together. Okay, this is half a teaspoon, so if we put 2 of the half teaspoon, it will be 1 tablespoon. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to try and mix, but I also want to add this. This is nutritional yeast. I've put already now my herbs, like my garlic powder, and I also put my my herbs. Okay, the rosemary. I want to put the nutritional yeast as well, and yeah. Okay, this is now 1 tablespoon. Okay, so I'm going to try and mix together. Oh, I almost forgot my celery, the dried one. Okay, so this one I just want to put as much as I want. Okay, so it will be more of a. So you see now it's it holds, and I also want to add this one. This is my dried eggplant, so it will be like more of a meaty kind of. Then we are going to. So I just want to add as much as I wish to add. Depends on you now what you want to add. Okay. Okay, so it's a little bit also still too wetty. Yeah, so I can try and add more of the eggplant, the dried one. Okay, so yeah, we'll see how this goes out. Okay, I'm not good at shaping sausages, okay? So just trying to see how it will go out. To come out, I mean. Okay, so I'm going to wipe my surface here so that I can draw them down there. See now how it looks like. It's like yeah, here come. So I'm just going to use a bit of flour, just a little bit of flour, to roll them down there and try and shape in a form of a sausage. Okay, yeah, I think maybe I'm gonna have 2 sausages. Let me just get a bit of flour. So I'm going to put a bit of flour just here where I can roll them. In the meantime, my broth is, I put it back to boil. So let's see what comes out of this. Okay. And see what is in the box for us. Okay, let me try and make it more. Like I said, I'm not good at shaping sausages, so yeah, you might be good at shaping them, so you can do better when you try yours. Okay. Yeah, much better, I guess. Much better. Okay, I'm using a plastic. I'm just trying to see if I can shape it nicely, but it's not really that important. You don't really need it, so I'm not going to cook with this plastic. It's not so healthy. So I'm just going to try and see if I can shape it much better. Yeah, like that. And then I'm going to remove it from there. Okay, so something like, okay, so you can use some people, they use foil paper to just twist it at the end there so that you have it nice and shaped. But yeah, like I said, it's not really important. It's just try and look nice, but yeah, not that necessary. Okay, so I'm going to leave this now here, and I'm going to do the other one. Okay, so let's get this one also. Okay, so we are going to do the same. I want my herbs to be inside there. They smell so good. Okay, so my broth is already boiling, releasing some aroma, nice aroma. And yeah, this one I'm not going to put in the plastic. I don't have time. I'll just make it like this, and then I'm going to put it in there. And we'll see how it comes out from there after a few minutes of steaming it. Okay, there we have it. Okay, quite a big sausage. Right. Okay, so remember we already put salt in our broth. So now I'm going to show you how my broth look like, and we're gonna put the sausages there. Okay, I'm going to put them here, then I'll try and take it to there. Here is my broth, it's boiling, so I'm going to drop this in there. and then we'll see what happened after that for a few minutes, just for a few minutes for them to, quickly just turn them a bit, just for them to have you know, to get that that flavor in there. Yeah, so we're going to leave them for a few minutes, and then we are going to do the final moment. Just a little bit. You can see this one, it's a little bit loosely, but not, it will be fine when we put it in the pan. So this one is the one that I rolled in the plastic, and this one I didn't roll in the plastic. Okay, so you can choose to do them in the plastic, and yeah, probably keep them for a while. So for now, I'm going to prepare the pan, so we finish them off in the pan. Okay, so this one, I'm not sure if I'm gonna use it for something else now. Yeah, but for now, let it be there. Okay, so I let them sit for just for a minute or so. You can see now it's a little bit firmer. This one, okay, this one is fine, it's very much good. Okay, so for now, I'm going to put them on the pan. Alright, so now I've put, I didn't put enough oil, just enough to wet the pan, and I think by now it's more warmer or hot per se. So I'm going to put them there. Okay, and put this one there. Okay, so we leave them there to turn brown. We'll be just turning this once they are ready. Yeah, for now we leave them for a few minutes until when they are ready, and then we will turn them again. Okay, so we have turned one. This is fine. The other one is not yet a little bit brown underneath, so we leave it, and then we'll turn it like the other one, so you can see how it looks in there. Yeah, so for now we leave this one to get done before we can turn it also. Okay, so I've turned the other one, and I'm using the canola oil. Yeah, at least, I mean, for now this is what I've been using, because yeah, the other one is high in saturated fat, like I said it the other day in my cooking video. So for now I leave it again to turn brown, the other side, and then the other side, and then we will be done. And serve it with carb, with rice, whatever that you want to eat with, that needs meat, and we are trying to substitute. So for now, we'll let it get cooked underneath, and turn it the other side again at a low heat to avoid burning. Yeah, and then we will show you what is the final product. Okay, so this is our final product. This is how our sausage came out, and I hope you like it, and I hope you try them. They are looking nice, and actually they taste like a chicken, so you can try it at home. And I'm impressed by the result, because I mean, considering the fact that it was a first trial, and yeah, we need to take time to consider what we eat and plan about it, and make sure that it brings all the nutrients to our body, because the Bible tells us that our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, and therefore we should take precaution of what we put in there, lest it damages our body. Like I said, for those who are allergic to gluten, you can also try and make the recipe of potato sausages. Yeah, and if you want to store them in the fridge, in the deep freezer, instead of after you've done forming them into sausages, you can actually now put them in the deep freezer until the time that you want to cook them, and then I think you can defrost them outside by just leaving them at room temperature. Yeah, because I haven't tried that, so you can extend further from where I stopped, and then you can also post and share with us how did yours come out. For now, it's bye-bye.